The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
The GOP has always protected the rich, but recently it's begun attacking the poor too.
Will NBC News finally move against Al Sharpton for blatantly dishonest on-air behavior? Bernie Goldberg and Howard Kurtz will analyze.
At SSM Cardinal Glennon Children's Medical Center, we celebrate the birth of Jesus and the season of giving.
ESPN says it will not run that ad because it mentions Jesus. We'll tell you all about this brand new controversy.
What are you going to do about Benghazi? Why isn't Benghazi at the top of your issue?
Well, I'm certainly not here to talk about it. We're here to talk about the Middle East.
That is the Middle East.
Also tonight, Dennis Miller on a possible uprising by the American people against cowardly politicians.
Libya is like right in the middle of the Middle East.
Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. President Obama shaking a dictator's hand. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Some Americans are upset that Barack Obama shook the hand of Cuban leader Raul Castro in South Africa yesterday. Both men were attending the memorial service for Nelson Mandela. Castro, of course, the brother of Fidel. Both are killers and tyrants. For more than 50 years, the Castro brothers have terrorized Cuba, causing millions to flee to the USA. And believe me, many of them are not happy about President Obama's engagement with Raul Castro. Also unhappy, Senator John McCain.
It just gives Raul some propaganda to continue to prop up his dictatorial, brutal regime. That's all.
Should he not have done it?
Of course not. Why should you shake hands with somebody who's keeping Americans in prison? I mean, what's the point? Neville Chamberlain shook hands with Hitler.
Talking Points respectfully disagrees with the senator from Arizona. A goal of any American president should be to alleviate the suffering of people, those in Cuba included. President Obama has not lessened sanctions against Cuba, and by treating Castro with a measure of respect, he leaves the door open for future negotiations. Maybe we will get the American out there. In 1972, President Nixon flew to Beijing, developed a relationship with Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai. Back then, the Chinese were even more brutal than they are today, especially in Southeast Asia, where China is responsible for millions of people being slaughtered. Nevertheless, Nixon did what was right for America and reduced tensions with China. 1985, President Reagan began developing a relationship with Soviet leader Gorbachev, and that ended very well for the USA. At the time, Gorbachev was a tyrant, but Reagan did what was best for his country. Again, the president's primary responsibility is solving problems, and there are many ways to do that. Spitting in the eye of dictators and tyrants is a good photo op, but doesn't get anywhere, okay? So that's why I'm not critical of the Iran situation. Yeah, the nuke deal is flimsy, no question. But if Iran cheats or does not continue to downgrade its nuke weapons program, the United States will be in a much stronger position to confront them. As Yoko Ono once said, give peace a chance. But at the same time, we do have to watch our backs. Right, Yoko? Raul Castro's a thug. He has no influence outside of Cuba, and his country is a disaster. When the Castro brothers die, Cuba will throw off communism, I predict, and return to sanity. In the meantime, all any president can do is try to reason with the oppressors while keeping the pressure on. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, the new budget deal and whether President Obama is perceived as being weak for shaking Castro's hand. Joining us from Washington, 8th correspondents James Rosen and Carl Cameron. So what's the buzz in D.C. over the Castro deal, Rosen? Are people upset about this?
It's amazing. It didn't get the attention, Bill, that I think a similar gesture 10 years ago might have gotten, perhaps because Raul Castro in general keeps a lower profile than Fidel Castro did. But if you're active and outspoken on this issue, it hit like a thunderbolt. You quoted Senator McCain. Congresswoman Ross Layton of Florida, the Republican, said sometimes a handshake is just a handshake, but when the leader of the free world shakes the bloody hand of a ruthless dictator like Raul Castro, it becomes a propaganda coup. Look, there were a number of things that were incorrect, I just have to say, Bill, in your talking points. For example, you said that the Obama administration has not lessened sanctions against the Castro regime, but over the course of the first Obama term, there were some relaxations in policy that the Obama administration put in place as kind of feeler gestures to see if the Cubans would
But that was
reciprocate.
about tourism mostly and other things. It wasn't economic. Their products cannot be sold here, which is killing them. And that's the main point. Okay, what
perhaps
else?
it depends on how you're going to define a sanction, Bill. But you also made the references to Richard Nixon opening China, Ronald Reagan pursuing glasnost with Gorbachev,
Right.
and also the Iran nuclear deal, and saying that it's necessary for the commander-in-chief to do what's in the interests of United States national security. In those three cases of China, Russia, and Iran, we're talking about major powers. There is no impetus for President Obama to shake the hand of the leader of an
other
island
than
like
getting
Cuba.
the guy out, we have an American, as McCain referenced, we have an American in prison there who went over to Cuba to try to set up a website for a group, and they threw him in jail. So look, if I got to shake this thug's, well, all right, just wait a minute. If I got to shake this thug's hand and get this guy out, I'm probably going to do that. Go ahead.
If we see in the next few weeks or so that Alan Gross, the USAID contractor who's been imprisoned in Cuba for 4 years, is swiftly released, then perhaps we can ascribe that to the president's handshake. In the meantime, that's speculation on your part, Bill.
Right, but you got to try, Rosen. You got to try. Go ahead.
Well, and at the risk of consuming Carl Cameron's time here in this segment,
don't do that.
You attributed Give Peace a Chance to Yoko Ono. Properly, as all Beatle fans know, it was a Lennon-McCartney composition, but in fact, a Lennon composition. I'm done. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
You walked right into that.
All right, you don't want to argue with Rosen. You don't get anywhere with it. All right, Cameron. Now, look, the budget deal. All right, Paul Ryan, worked with Patty Murray, the Democrat, and they came up with a budget deal that Ryan says, you have to have going forward. But then we hear thunder on the right. So what's the inside story?
It's thunder on the right and thunder on the left. Part of the problem is that this was a deal cut by two people. You mentioned them, Patty Murray and Paul Ryan, the two budget chiefs in the House and Senate. But now there's 535 other members of Congress that have like 2 days to study this, then vote on it, and then race out of town for the holidays. For a lot of folks, it smacks of the kind of last-minute cram the work in and then deal with the consequences down the road. The details of this fall short on both sides. Basically, it's a 2-year deal. It spends about $1 trillion each year. Would alleviate some of the automatic so-called sequester cuts by about $63 billion. That's something. But it does raise fees on things like air travel and a few other things. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, says it would reduce the deficit $85 billion. But Republicans say, wait a minute, if there's not serious spending cuts and not entitlement reform in it, why are we doing away with the Budget Act that had really serious fiscal discipline in the sequester? And then the Democrats say, hold on a second, wait. They want the unemployment insurance pushed forward. They want to close corporate loopholes.
And
they want additional domestic spending. So the left and the right,
I think,
on the extremes, are angry about it.
All right. I think it's going to pass. Would you say I'm wrong on that?
Well, there's a little bit of a mystery about what Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, will do in the Senate. He's very much in favor of the Budget Act and has signaled that he's opposed to it. There's going to be some problems. It'll be close. The leaders on both sides say it's a squeaker, but they think it'll pass. If it doesn't,
I think
there's
it will.
hell to pay because you're looking at a shutdown problem in January.
I think what Ryan is doing, and I respect Ryan, is he's saying, look, this is the best deal we can get now. And if we do it, our chances of winning back the Senate and increasing our margin in the House next year go way up. And then when Republicans regain that power, they handcuffed Barack Obama for the last 2 years of his administration.
There's a little bit of that.
That's what's going on. Last word.
It's going to antagonize the Tea Party that are going to go after incumbents and establishment pragmatists who want to get something done, just as it will the liberal progressive far left. The bottom line is Congress isn't happy about this, but they think it's a heck of a lot better than the gridlock and shutdowns that have been prevailing for the last few years.
All right, gentlemen, thanks very much. We appreciate it, and so does Yoko Ono. Next on the rundown, an amazing display of dishonesty by Al Sharpton on MSNBC. Will his boss, NBC News, do anything about it? Goldberg and Kurtz will analyze in just a few moments.